Fine. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Girish GK. I'm a senior member technical staff for Chipets Technologies Private Limited. Right. Welcome to for today's webinar, the scope and career opportunities of a physical design in VLSI industry. What I'll be doing here, or what I'll be taking you through today, will be I'll take you through what is ASIC design flow, what they do in the ASIC, right? The complete ASIC design flow. And in that, what is physical design flow? Physical design is a part of an ASIC design flow. So what all we do in the physical design flow, I'll take you through. And I am planning for a demo of physical design flow using ICC2 tool. It's a Synopsys tool, industry standard tool, and that's what we are using for our training as well. Right. Lastly, I'll take you through career opportunities in VLSI industry, how the opportunities are there, and how you can get into the market, what you need to be to get into this VLSI industry, right? So with that, we will start with what is ASIC design flow. See, ASIC design flow means we want one chip to be manufactured, right? One chip to be fabricated for a new mobile or a new laptop, right? A new processor need to be fabricated. So I need a new thing. So the one who needs that IC, right, the processor, right? So they come up with the requirements. They need so and so requirements for this chip and functional. They'll define the functionality. This should function like this. This should operate at this frequency. The size of this it should be so much. The power, the consumption of the power should be so much. What should be the area? So they all define those things. So this is what design specifications is. Hope you understood. Design specifications means a new chip they're planning for. They come up with some requirements and the functionalities of it, like area, power, performance, many more things. So with that, they come up and explain the team that they need these requirements and the functionalities. With the understanding of this, there's a first team of people who are called like front end team, if you call, right? RTL team. These people write a code in VHDL or Verilog or in System Verilog. System Verilog. They will write the program. You might have also written a Verilog or VHDL program in your fourth semester, fifth semester of your engineering, right? These people will write the program, the Verilog program for their system requirements and the functionalities, the what all they have defined, right? For that, they will write the code and they will test it. You might have also done the simulations in the waveforms form of. So they will simulate and see whether it's meeting the functionalities or not. Functionalities or not. So once they are happy with the functionalities, right? They will give it to. They will give it to. They'll give it to functional verification team. These are one more team, like testing team kind of people. These people will test the code that is written by the RTL people. I mean, you might have also written test benches and test the code, right? For example, you might have written a full adder code. So full adder was working fine. You might have written a test bench like A, B, C are the inputs. You give 0, 0, 0 and see what is the output. 0, 0, 1 test vectors. You give different test vectors, different inputs, and see whether output is coming properly or not. So those things you might have checked, right? That is what this functional verification team will do. So they are also called as DV people, DV team, right? So RTL description team is one and DV team. So once these people are happy with the code, that means all the test vectors are given and the outputs are correct. They say the RTL code is fine. Otherwise, they return the code back to this RTL people, tell them, no, this code is not working at these places. For this input vectors, the code is giving me a wrong output. So correct it and give. So these two people are in the loop until the code is finally correct. So once they feel that the code is perfect for the meeting the requirements of the functionality, then they give it to a team called a synthesis team. See, till now the code is in the Verilog form or VHDL form, right? So it cannot be hardware implemented. Hardware implemented means it should be in the form of gates. Gates, I mean to say, in AND, NOR, XOR, right? In that form it should be. But if you remember back, The Verilog code that you wrote was in the form of like for loop, if loop, while loop kind of were there, right? So it should be converted into gates. Gates like NAND, NOR, XOR, in that form only it should be. So these people, synthesis people, will convert this Verilog code into a part like called netlist. We also call it as gate level netlist. So now this gate level netlist will contain all that gates, the XOR, NOR, NAND gates. It will contain what the synthesis will do. That if loop, for loop will be converted suitably to the netlist. So this netlist will be an input for the physical design engineer. I'm a physical design engineer. For me, this netlist will be the input. Look at this. For the synthesis people, the input will be something called as library. Library means the NAND gate, NOR gate, right? That will be the input for this synthesis team and this Verilog code. Both they will merge and they will give us the netlist. There's also one more team called DFT team, Design for Test. They introduce an extra logic in the code so that the chip can be easily tested. The chip can be easily tested. You can read more on what is DFT if you are really interested, right? So now netlist is ready. Netlist means a gate level netlist containing all the XOR, NOR, NAND gates and their connections. So that will be the input for the physical design engineer. So my job as a physical design engineer is to place these gates in the given area. First, place them properly, connect them properly, give the clock signal properly, and see that there are no violations. There are so many violations like DRC. You might have studied DRC violations. There are some design rules when you're drawing some metal wire. The thickness or the width or the distance between the metal to metal should follow some rules. And the rules are given by the foundry, those who fabricate, right? My chip, they will give me some rules. So I should have followed those rules when I'm doing it, when I'm doing the design. And also I should meet the timing. If you are I believe you are aware of what is setup time, hold time, right? So those should be in control, right? There should be no violation in terms of setup time and hold time. So even that I should check, right? Once I'm done with all the placement, connecting the clocks, connecting the signal nets, then I'll give it to a team called as sign off team. There are two people here involved. One is STA people, that static timing analysis people, who will check for the timing violations. Who will check for the timing violations. And there are one more team of people called PV team, the physical verification team. They will check for the, are there any DRC rule violations or the LVS rules violations. If there are violations, they will inform the PD guy, the physical design guy, to correct it and implement and then give it back to them. So these two teams are in the loop until there are no violations. The timing violations are the DRC and LVS violations. So once all the violations are fine, no violations are there in the design, no violations are there in the design, it will be given to fabrication. Fabrication people will actually fabricate. You might have studied process technology subject, right? So in that we will do the fabrication. So once it is fabricated, once the chip is ready, it will come for packaging and testing will be done. Now after testing, it is out for the market. So this is the typical ASIC design flow from where the specification started, and finally I have the chip ready in my hands, right? To do most of these things, we involve some tools, EDA tools, like for synthesis, you need design compiler as a tool from Synopsys. Major vendors of these EDA tools in the market, industry standard tools, are Synopsys and the Cadence. These two are the major vendors in the market. So for synthesis, to perform synthesis, to convert and Verilog to netlist, design compiler tool is used by Synopsys team, Synopsys people, and Genus is the tool used by Cadence. And for physical design, which I'm talking today, Synopsys tool name are called as IC compiler. Recent version is ICC2, ICC2. Earlier they used to call it as ICC. Older version is ICC. Now they are released a newer version called ICC2. If you go for a cadence, now the recent version is Innovus. Earlier they used to call it as Encounter. This timing people use a tool called as Prime Time, or by cadence it is Tempest, right? We are like training partners of Synopsys, so we use Prime Time. For physical verification, Synopsys uses IC Validator, and Cadence uses this physical verification system. Mentor Graphics uses Caliber. So these are the tools that we use. These are very costly tools, Hence, to get into these courses or job are highly paid, or high cost is high because of the tools only, right? Just a quick check. Are you in sync with me? Did you follow that? Uh, Shivendra, I'll take all the questions at the end. I can tell you, please don't post your questions here. Post the questions in the questions box. Here there is questions on the top of chats, right? You can see questions. Please post it there, because other discussions will also be there. Let it be separate, right? Fine. Are you following with this? Vengumini, okay, good. Thank you. One or two more responses. Okay, thank you. All right. I'll continue with this. Right now, if I take only physical design, this yellow box, right, that I mentioned here, this yellow box is my physical design. If I elaborate this, what is physical design? What is physical design? There are so many stages inside that as well. So, what is first one? The first one is the design import. Design import means you have the tool. You need to read in. Read in the the database need to be set up, files that are required you, to be read into the tool. What are the files that are required? For example, definitely I told you netlist is an input for me, so you need to read the netlist. You also need to read the SDC file. There's one file called as SDC file, which will have the constraints. Constraints means what frequency the design should work. So that's simple constraint, the first constraint. So such constraints will also be set. And what library you want to work on? I told you here, we need library for the physical design, right? What are the standard cells like LAN, NAR, XR, right? Those the definitions are required. So that files will be read. And I also need RC information. So for that, we'll have a file called TLU plus files. We need to read in that file. Reading in all the files, I can simply say design import. I repeat, reading in the files, the required files is called design import. Once you are ready with the design import, all the files are read and fine. Then we do floor planning. Floor planning means it's like your house construction. What you do, you have your site, right? A 30-40 site. So you plan something, right? Where what it should be, where should be the door entrance, where should be the windows, right? So for me also, I have ports, input ports, output ports, in-out ports. So where should these ports be placed? Left hand side, at the top, right side, bottom side, where should be the ports placed? I will plan them. I will plan where to place the ports, that I will think of. Then I'll think of where should be the hall should be, where the bedroom should come, where should be the puja room, where should be the kitchen room, right? You plan that way. Even we do planning. We do planning for the entire chip. So that is floor planning. We plan where should be the things be. It's not a physical doing. It's just a planning. Okay, let this be here. Let this be here, like that. We plan, right? That's what we do in the floor planning. Once floor planning is done, within this we do power planning as well. Power planning means where and all the power should go, right? Even in home also you do power planning, right? Where the power should come, in the room, where the switches should be, kind of you plan it, right? The same way we also do the power planning. Once floor plan and power plan is completed, we do the placement. Placement is the actual placement of the standard cells. The given area, I need to place the standard cells. See, standard cells, if you take a simple design also, you will have some 50, 60,000 of standard cells. Minimum. I'm not talking about millions. Just minimum the design also, you will have some 50, 60,000 standard cells to be placed. So placement of this standard cells is not like manually we can do. So the tool should do it. The tool like ICC2 will do the placement. There are some algorithms to do it. So the algorithm will run, and then it will place all the 50,000 standard cells in the given area. The area will be very small. So in that area, I need to place them. So placement will perform that placing of the standard cells. Once it is placed, we check for are there any timing violations. If there are timing violations, we'll try to fix them. Right? We call it as a pre-CTS timing analysis and optimization. So once that optimization is complete, we go for something called as clock tree synthesis. Clock tree synthesis means if you recall your any IC which has a clock pin, for example, what 8051 microcontroller, right? You had that 18th and 19th pin as your clock pin. So you will connect a crystal oscillator to those pins, and clock will enter into the chip, right? So where and all it should go? There can be many flip flops in the design. So to all of them, this clock should go on reach, right? So this clock tree synthesis is all about building the clock tree. Means from starting from the clock pin to all the flip flops in the design, the clock should be built. So this clock tree synthesis is about building that clock tree, right? There are some conditions to build it. We should follow that and then build. After building the clock tree also, we need to do the timing analysis and also optimization if required, right? Once timing analysis and optimization is completed, we do routing. Routing is actually the routing of signal nets. Signal nets means you have some A connected to B connected to something else, right? So those signal nets to be connected, that is routing, right? I'll show you in the demo how all this happens. So after routing also, we will do some timing analysis and optimization required. We will do it. And as I told you, we'll go for STA people to check for our timing violations, and for physical verification people for any DRC and LVS problems. It's like a loop. If there are any violations, uh, if timing and DRC are clean, then I'll go for next step. Otherwise, no means I'll be in the loop until all this PV errors and the timing analysis errors are fixed. Right? I'll be in the loop. Once timing and DRC are clean, I'll do something called as IR drop analysis and EM analysis and go for a tape out. Tape out is nothing but I'm going for a fab. I'm going for a fab, right? So this is all what I'll be doing as a physical design engineer. So starting from design import to almost routing is my job. Hence, it is also called as PNR, placement to routing. So this is my job as a PD engineer. These people will support us. The STA team and the PV team will support us for performing the physical design, right? There are job openings in STA also. So you can do a course like on a timing analysis, static timing analysis, and get a job for as a STA engineer. You can also do a course on physical verification, and you can get a job in as a physical verification engineer as well, right? So as this is one domain, even PV is one domain of. In the PV is also one more domain in VLSI design, and timing analysis is also one more domain, right? Yes, coming to my actual physical design. So, what are the files that are required for a physical design engineer? I was talking about definitely we need a netlist. Netlist is a file. It's in the Verilog form only, which contains the connectivity between the cells. I think I have an example. I'll show you. So, who gives this to me? The synthesis team will give to me. Synthesis team after doing timing constraints .sdc file. As I told you, what should be the frequency of the clock? All that things will be mentioned in the SDC file, again given by the synthesis team. We need the lib file, library file. Library file means the NAND gate, NOR gate, how it will be, what inputs it will take, how it will behave, what will be the timing taken by it, what is the power consumed by it. All right, all such information will be given in the .lib file, and how it looks, what is the height, what is the width, what is the area, all such things will be defined in the left file, .left file. Nowadays, the recent ICC2 version has come up with a file called as .ndm new data model, where it's a merger of .lib and .left. So now we don't read both these as a separate. We make them as a single file called .ndm file. .ndm file, it's a merger of .lib and .left files. Then we have something called as TLU plus files. So TLU plus files contain the RC information. See, I have a metal wire, you think. So what is the time taken by that wire? Time that takes the delay that is taken by this metal wire. How do you calculate? It is calculated through its resistance and capacitance offered by that metal wire, right? And that information is contained in a file called as TLU plus files. And we have one more file called technology file. It contains the metal layers information. Metal layer information means what should be the metal width, thickness, right? And what should be the distance from metal to metal. You might have studied some DRC rules, lambda based rules. So they are all defined in the file called as technology file. So these are the input files. These are the input files for the PD engineer to start. I was talking about design import, right? So in the design import, I will be reading these files. I'll be reading these files into the tool. Once this is read, then I say design import is completed, right? Yes, I have an example here. This is for a netlist. You might have all written a program in Verilog. This is a simple RTL code. RTL code for a looks like a 3-bit counter, right? So on positive edge of clock, if reset button is pressed, so cout is equal to 0, else cout is equal to cout plus 1. So it's an up counter, 3-bit up counter. So it'll keep on counting up 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then back to 0, since it's a 3-bit, right? Up 0 to 7 and again back to 0. Such a counter it is. On every pause edge of the clock, it will count. If reset is equal to 0, it will count. If you press reset button, it will turn to 0. So understand this. This is the RTL code. This is the RTL code written by RTL engineer. Now synthesis team should convert this into gate level netlist. The same program should be converted. See, the module name, counter, the inputs will all remain same. This first part will remain the same. This logic what is there, right? This will get converted into gate levels. So you might have you might have designed your counter in digital electronic lab. If you need a 3-bit counter, you need three flip flops. I repeat, if you need a 3-bit counter, you need three D flip flops or the three flip flops. Whether it's a JK or SR or T or D, you need three flip flops, right? Here they are designing with D flip flops. So there are three D flip flops have come up, and there are two XOR gates required, one OR gate, one AND gate, and one inverter. So if you connect this, you will get a 3-bit counter. Hope you understood this. This to this is converted by the synthesis tool. We don't do it manually. The tool will do it. The tool will do us this conversion from this code to this code. This can be written by, this is written by the RTL engineer. This cannot be written that way. So the tool is involved in converting this to this, right? You can see here a D flip flop pins, a D pin, clock pin, Q, QN, right, are connected through N6 clock, Cout 0, and these are from somewhere. Say AND gates output N6 is connected as an input to this, right? There is some small N6 here, very small N6 here it is. So XR's output is connected to this. You can imagine the circuit for this, right? How they are placed, three flip flops and two XR gates and three more gates. So now my PD job is to place these in the given area, place these 9, 10 standard cells and connect them. And clock pin should be connected to these three flip flops, right? To do all this is a PD guy's job. Right? Hope you understood the difference between the RTL code and the netlist code. Here, I think someone was asking a question: Are they not connected? They are connected in the program, not physically connected. Right? There was a question like, are they are not connected in the netlist? No, they are not connected. This is just a program. Now, as a PD guy, I will be doing it a real implementation of this. The real implementation of this. Right? Hope you understood this. The difference between the RTL code and the netlist. Then coming to my second part, after reading the design, I'll do the floor plan. I'll do the floor plan. Floor plan means choosing the area, what area I need, how much area I need, right? Based on two things, we will choose the area. One is pad limited. One is pad limited. Pad limited means if there are more number of input ports, input and output ports, we our area will be limited by the pads. Pads will define our area. No, sir, number of input and output ports are less. Then the core. Core means this is the core. The number of cells right here. This is the core area. This is the core region. So this will define my area. You may understand better if you read, go back and read your studies, what you did in your engineering or masters, right? What is pad limited and core limited. See here, there are more number of IO pads. So more number of IO pads are limiting limiting my area. No, sir, if less number of input IO ports, then core area will be bigger, less number of IO ports, right? So, what should be a good floor plan? Good floor plan is minimize the total chip area. See, we are all struggling to get small size chips, right? So, what will be the good floor plan means less chip area is a good floor plan, and it should be easy for routing. There should be enough space for routing. So that floor plan is a good one. And signal delay should be less, right? So the such floor plans are good for us. I'll talk about macros in the demo itself. You may not understand now what is macros. So I'll talk about challenges in the demo when I give the demo. Right? This is floor plan. You decide the area. You decide the area. You decide where my input ports and output ports should sit, and you decide the place where macros should sit. Macros should sit. I'll show you what is macros in the demo as I told you, right? Where they should sit. So this is floor plan. Once you are happy with the floor plan, you go for a power plan. You go for a power plan. What is power plan is giving the power for the entire chip. Giving the power for the entire chip. Call back. Go for your digital electronics lab. You had some lab in second sem or I believe third sem of electronics, right? Some digital electronics lab where you had 7400, 7402, 7436, the basic gates ICs, right? I believe everyone might have used it. So there, what you did, you had pin number. There were like 14 pin ICs, right? 1 to 14 pins. So your seventh pin and 14th pins were ground and VCC. I feel you're all able to recall that seventh pin and 14th pin were VCC and VDD. You used to connect power to that and then start working with the chip. So this power which enters inside the chip should be distributed for all the standard cells, and also for macros. How it is done? See, your seventh pin and 14th pins are like this. They are pads, right? So this is one for ground, and one for VDD. This chip, what I'm showing, has four such uh, power pads, four such power pads, pair of power pads. But I told you 7432, 7400 contains only two pins, the one for VDD and one for VSS. Here there are four, maybe the requirement for the power. So what they do is one ground pin, right? One ground pin. It is circle, like you can see, like a ring structure around a chip. We will draw a ring structure around the chip, and the ground, the VSS is available across the chip. Across the chip, it is available. Similarly, VSS or VDD, the 5 volts, what you call, right? The VDD is also available across the chip. A ring is drawn, and everywhere that power is readily available. These are called rings. I have named it here rings. The IO, VDD and VSS rings are the power rings. Power rings will be there. Next, through the power rings, something called as straps are drawn. You may see here the thick lines, the red and the blue lines. These are called straps. The straps are drawn across the chip. You can see everywhere. This will be everywhere like this. I have shown one for an example. Everywhere you will have the straps. Then you will have the standard cells. To the standard cells, you will take the power through these. Like, see, in your house, at the entrance at the door, you'll see the meter board, right? So there the first power comes. From there, yeah, in your each rooms, you will have your power plugs where you connect your laptop or mobile charger, right? So like that, these are our points. So from there, I can hook my pads, right? So your chargers you can connect that way. We are connecting it, right? So this is my power plan. I will plan how the power should distribute, how many standard cells are there, what is the power consumption of the chip. Based on all that things, I will plan the power here, right? So while doing this, there may be some DRC violations, there may be no connections might have not formed. So all these things we need to check and go ahead. They are the challenges while designing it, right? That's about power plan. Next is placement. Placement is, as I told you, there are some 50,000 plus standard cells. These are all what you are seeing small, small, right? See, you can read in here. It's a D flip flop. It's an AND gate, right? There might be a NOT gate, right? A D flip flops or many D flip flops are seen here. So placing of these, you need to place them properly. Properly means not overlapping on each other, properly aligned, right? We call it as legally placed. Placing of all this should be taken care. And not only that, they should be placed such that there are no timing violations. If there are timing violations are also, they should be in the minimal. The timing violation should be minimal. So we need to take care that the standard cells are placed legally, plus plus timing violations are in control, and also there is enough space for routing. Means I need to connect, right? These are all not yet connected, just you have placed the cells. There are pins, right? In this D flip flop, if you consider, there will be D pin, clock pin, QN bar. So there should be a wire drawn from them, so there should be enough space between them to draw that wire. So while placing, we need to take care of that as well, right? That is placement process. So once placement is done, you are happy with the placement, we do clock routing. Clock routing or the clock tree synthesis. What is clock tree synthesis is, see, in the design you might have seen here, there are many D flip flops, right? There are many D flip flops. So each D flip flop will have a clock pin. It's a sequential element. So all my sequential elements will have the clock pin. Sorry. So this deep flip flops will have the clock pins. So there will be one clock pin, right? The clock pin in your chip. So through this, the routing should happen so that the clock will reach all the clock pins of the flip flops, all the clock pins of the flip flops. So there should be routing done to reach them. There are many things to consider while drawing this. See, when this clock starts, right? See, this is very closest, and this is very far to the clock pin. But still, the clock should reach both of these at the same time. So that should be taken care. It should not reach this early and this is not late. So you need to involve some buffers or inverters. See that the clock reaches for all of these at the same time. May not be possible practically, but you need to put in more effort so that the clock reaches all the flip flops at the same time, right? That is the responsibility of the PD engineer to take care that clock reaches all the flip flops at the same time. The tool may not do it. The tool may not do it. I need to take care to do that, right? Finally, the last stage is the routing stage. The routing stage, you can see the metal layers drawn here, right? So these are the connections. These are the connections. The standard cell, you can see the D flip flop sitting here. The D flip flop sitting here. D flip flop, as I told you, will have the pins, right? Clock pin, right? Q and Q bar, and QN and DPIN. So there should be connection. There should be connected, given by the netlist. In the netlist, you see the where the connections are to be happen, right? So that things are following that netlist. The connections are done here. You can see the metal wires drawn here, right? These are the power straps. What you're seeing in the thick line, right? These are the power plant. Power is drawn through this. You can read this. VSS, VDD is connected, right? So routing is the last stage where we connect the pins. For routing, only one metal layer may not be enough, will not be enough for this count of standard cells like 50, 60,000 or millions of standard cells. So we use something called as metal stack. Metal stack means multiple metal layers. Like you see the flyovers, right? When there's a more traffic jam on the road, right? They build flyovers. Even that is not sufficient. We can build one more flyover on that, so that easy passage. So there will be no congestion. There will be no traffic on the road, right? Flyovers will help for that. So even as many metal layers I'm using, that many flyovers they are like, right? You can have 9 metal layers, 10 metal layers, 12, 14, 15. Like each metal layer is like a flyover. So more the flyovers, more will be the less will be the traffic jam. So we will be using multiple metal layers to do the routing. One metal layer is not possible to do, right? You can, the different colors that you are seeing here are the different metal layers. So once routing is completed, I go for STA people and the physical verification team to see that there are no violations in the designs. Once all the violations are cleared, we write out a file called as GDS2, and this goes to the foundry to get fabricated. This goes to the foundry to get fabricated, right? So this is the simple flow that I explained, from starting from design, import, reading the files to the generation of GDS2. Actually, I kept it very simple. Actually, this takes you at least 3 4 months to learn the minimal of things. 3 4 months to learn this, right? Next, I have the demo. Before I go to the demo, just a quick question. I'll not take the questions. Are you in sync with me, following with me? Did you understand something from that, or I was fast? Quick response. Quick response. Are you in sync with
Yes, sir,
me?
we understood.
You understood?
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. You understood what are the files, right? What PD engineers are really do. We do. Fine. Okay. Thank you. Now I would like to share. Give me a minute of time. I will turn on the tool and show you the demo of how we do it, how we really do it in the tool. Right. Hope you are able to see my screen. You may not understand now what I'm trying to do. All right. Don't worry. See, there will be many commands involved while you're doing it. So we will store all those commands in a file called as .tickle, right? The commands that you need to give for the tool, right, will be stored in a file called as .tickle. This is a .tickle, and you can read in here. It's for data import, right? Data preparation. So I have prepared a tickle. So this is a tickle to read in the files. The first one, first part. You remember the parts, right? Data preparation is the first. Next is the floor plan, then power plan, then placement, CTS, routing. So in that, for the first one, I have a tickle. So I need to follow these commands, right? You can also write these commands by practice. So I have a set of commands ready. So these commands are to read in the files, right? So before I go for it, I will invoke the tool. To start the tool, we have a command like ICC2 shell. So I am using a Synopsys tool. Get that in mind. Synopsys tool by name ICC2 is for physical design. ICC2 is a tool used for physical design. So to invoke the tool, we give a command like ICC2 underscore shell. So if I give this command, the tool will be invoked. The tool ICC2 shell will be invoked. Like you turn on any video players, right? So you double click on a video player, the video player will open up, right? That way, I have invoked the tool, the IC compiler tool. So this is the tool for physical design. I'm in the tool right now. I'm working on the tool, right? So what are the first steps? First steps is to read in the libraries. The libraries .lib, right? Standard cells. Those things should be read first. As I told you, .lib and .left. .lib is for timing and power information. .left is for physical information, the area and the widths kind of, right? But now they are calling it as .ndms, right? So there are some .ndm files. Here you can see .ndm, right? I'm sorry, you may not understand all these aspects in 1 hour of webinar, right? You need to undergo some course, or you need on your read on your own much what are all this, right? I'm keeping it brief to this 1 hour limitation. So we need to read in all these files in the beginning. Then I need to read the Verilog. I told you, right? The Verilog is the netlist file. I need to read that netlist file. I need to read the SDC file. This SDC file will contain the timing constraints, right? That file I need to read. Then I need to set the metal layer information. Metal layer information means, see, what I told you, there are many metals, right? So in my library, I have some 10 metals, M1 to MRDL, M9 actually, M1 to M9 plus one extra layer called MRDL. So 10 layers. What direction you will route them? Either horizontal or vertical. I am defining, it's my choice to define, and I am defining M1, M3, M5 are like odd number of layers in the horizontal direction and others in the vertical directions. Then I will read the TLU plus files. I told you TLU plus files for RC information, right? So for RC information, I'll read in the files. Uh, uh, this if this tickle is ready, it's just about copy paste these things, right? Copy pasting these things. I'm sorry with the time limitation. I'm just copy pasting them. Actually, in class means I'll ask the students to do it on their own. So I'm reading in those commands. Those commands are actually getting executed. See, for what I mean by command is, here you can see create underscore lib is a command. Read Verilog is a command. Current design is a command. Link is a command. Read SDC is a command. So all these things I'm doing. And read parasitic text library is a command. So I'm reading them. By pasting here, I completed that. Right? I have read all the files that are required. This is the first stage. See, it's not so simple. I'll be explaining you more in detail about each file. Right? I can open the GUI. GUI means the graphical user interface. The graphical user interface. So you'll see now the graphical user interface. So this is called the graphical user interface.
Sir, a question raised, what is current design command means?
I'll take all the questions at a time. Okay. See now, these are called macros. What you are seeing, right? Big boxes like this, green colored ones. These are macros. Now I'll define you what are macros. Macros are some ready modules. For example, you are like you need an ADC block or a DAC block or a PLL, right? Some big design. You don't want to waste time in designing that. There are people who have already made these things ready, and you can just ask them to give that for you, like a fast food. Ready food is already there. Take it and use them, right? For example, here a RAM. This is an SRAM. So SRAM of size 512 into 32. So you want this RAM in your design. You don't design for this SRAM. People are there who have already done this. So go to them, purchase this, right? Use this in your design, right? They are called macros. Their sizes will be usually big, and these are again made up of standard cells only. Now, where are the standard cells? These are the standard cells. You can see, I'm zooming in actually. If I zoom in, you can see the small boxes, right? These are the standard cells. You can see there's a D flip-flop, right? There's an XOR gate, right? There are many in this design. Actually, this design contains about 70,000 of 70,000 of standard cells. Looks like very small area, but they are like count of 70,000, right? This pink box is what you are seeing, right? Pink or purple. These are my standard cells. So my duty is to place these standard cells, place these macros in a proper place, right? And then do the connections. The connections are given in the netlist. Or connections are given in the netlist. And you can see here there are ports. I told you, no, IO ports, input and output ports. These are the ports for the design. They are like looking at one place only. There are many. You can see the count. There are 383 IO ports in this area, right? So this is how it looks when you read in the design. I have just read in the design. Now I need to do the floor plan. To do the floor plan in the tool, there is like an option like go to task, design planning, and there will be one window opens here. You need to go for floor plan initialization, right? In the floor plan initialization, you can decide the, I told you whether it's a core area or die area, right? So based on that, you can set it. And shape, what shape you want. Type rectangle if you want. Rectangle means this is the rectangle type. If you want a simple rectangle, no sir, I don't want rectangular, I want L shape. You can do for an L shape. This comes from the top team. They'll tell you what should be the shape of your design. T shape or U shape, right? Some four shapes are defined by default. No, if you want any other shape other than this, you can also define. You can say customized design and you can design your shape. There is something called as core utilization. Sorry, with respect of time, I cannot define all this right now. Core utilization in simple, what is the area of the core? Or what is the area of the standard cells and the macros is called the core, right? So how much it should be? I'm choosing 0.7. Aspect ratio is what should be the height and width. The ratio of that is called aspect ratio. And we need to define the sides. I'll go with 1, 1, right? And there is something called as die to core area. I'll show you this in the design. So I'll set it as 3. So if you apply, I'll show you how it comes up. Okay, now you can see this. This is my area. This is my area, the chip area, you call it, right? This is my chip area. You can see here the small difference in the area. This is my core area. This is my die area. So there's a difference right here. This was 3. You can see that 3 here. There's a ruler. See, I set it for 3, right? So this is 3. The sizes are in microns. The size, it is 3 microns, right? A small area, very small area, right? So now you can see these are your macros. These are your macros. Now the job is to first you have decided the floor plan area, how much it should be. Now the job is to place the IO ports, place the IO ports, place this macros, place the IO ports and place this macros. How do we place the IO ports? Wait for a second for me. I have a tickle for that as well. I'll open the tickle. It's usual practice. We don't type the commands there. We will have the commands in this form and we will just copy paste them. These two are the commands to place the IO ports. See if I have just copied those commands. I'm pasting it here. So when I paste those two commands, you will see the IO ports being placed. You can see now these are the IO ports. See, these are output port or input port or a bidirectional port. So this is some output port. You can see here in the left hand corner here, what is this? So this is an output port. The name of the port, right, is defined. So your ports have been placed. What you are seeing in pink and green color, right, are the IO ports that are being placed, right? Then we need to place this macros. We need to place these macros inside. We have some rules to follow to place these macros. There are some 10, 12 rules how to place these macros. So following those rules, we need to move them inside. See, I'm moving it inside. So following the rules only, we should place this macros properly. Tool will not do it properly, so we human beings like engineers should only do it. There's a command to do by the tool as well, but there are some restrictions for that. So instead of that, we will do it manually. So this is like we are deciding where my kitchen will be, where my hall will be in the house, right? Where the puja room should be in the house. So all that I'm deciding. So this way we need to place. This is not simple as I'm telling you. We need to follow the rules, keep some distance, how much distance it should be. We have some calculations. What should be this distance, right? Follow all that rules and then place. See, if you don't follow that, right? These are many. You cannot place this within this small area, right? And there should be no overlapping. Without overlapping, I need to place them. Without overlapping, I need to place them. No overlapping. It should not sit like this. It should be away from it. There should be enough space in between for these things. So we need to follow those rules and place them, right? So there's a command to do that. As I told you, there's a restriction by the command to do it. I will simply run the command so that it will perform it now with respect of time. Take some time to do it. It's running the placement. Yes, it has done. The tool has done it. Actually, we should manually do it. See, it has nicely placed. Right. We had all this outside, right? So it has placed all my macros inside. Even a rough placement of standard cells will also happen. Look at this. These small boxes nicely placed. These are your standard cells. Roughly, they'll be placed by this command as well. Not properly placed. You can see there's a overlap, right? You can see the name of the gates. There's an AND gate. There's an inverter. There's an OA gate, R and gate, NAND gate, MUX is there, right? So they are all placed here. Are not properly placed. They'll be properly placed during the placement stage. They'll be properly placed during the placement stage. You can see how they are filled, right? No, with no space, like stars in the sky, they are placed heavily, right? So everywhere in the design, they are placed like this. You can see those pink boxes, right? They are my standard cells, right? So this is the first step. The first step for, sorry, I can say second step. One is data preparation, reading in the files, and creating the floor plan, placing the IO ports, placing the IO ports, and then placing the macros is the second step. Right. Now we will save this. We usually keep on saving whatever we do. Whatever we do, I means to say, I will save this as save block. You play. You also save, right? Whenever you're doing some whatever work in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you'll save the files, right? Even we also save the files. So here I have done with floor plan one. So this is I am saving it. For next time, I can open this block by using a command like open block, floor plan one, and I can open and see the design. So this is how we keep saving the blocks, right? So this is the floor plan. This is the floor plan, right? Once we are done with the floor plan, I'm okay, sir. I want to rest. Today's job is over for me. You can say close block. Close block means whatever we are working, right? It will be closed. You can see in your GUI, it's closed. The design is closed, right? You can close the design. This way, this is how we work. This is how we work, right? Next, we will go for a power plan. Next, we will go for a power plan. When I want to go for a power plan, I will open the open block. Open block. What I should open? I had done floor plan, right? So I'll open the block floor plan. When I say open block, the one which I just saved, I opened it. If you see, if it was opened here in the GUI, it should be ready. See, it's ready. You understood the difference. If I say close block and open block, this is ready. Now I need to do the power planning. Power planning, as I told you, I need to draw power strap across all of these and then connect it. Right? I'll quickly show you how power plan is also done. I'll take 5 more minutes to end my demo. Again, for power plan, we will have a tickle. I have a tickle for power plan, right? This is the power plan tickle. There are so many commands in the power plan. What I will do is I'll quickly run all of them at once. To run all of them at once, also we have a command called source. So if I run this, all the commands in the tickle will get executed at once. All the commands are running now. Instead of copy pasting each one by one, we can do this way. It's actually building the power plan, designing the power plan. See, tools are very capable of, hence they're costly. They do so many things for us. We don't need to go and sit and do it. Whenever the tool fails, engineers are required. Many times it will fail. It will do most of the things. Some 5 to 10% of things may go wrong. To fix those 5 to 10%, we are required. So we need to understand what went wrong, why it is wrong, right? How I can correct it. It will take some time. Okay, if it is taking long time, I will try to quit this. That's okay. It will take usually for 3-4 hours sometimes for some commands, right? There's one command, list blocks, to see all the designs that are done, right? With respect of time, I have done all the design up to route also, right? I will take the completed block. These are the stages that we have saved. Look at this. These are the stages that we have saved. I saved floor plan, right? Like that, I have saved in each stages. So this is my final chip, like final chip after doing all. Like routing is also completed. I'll show you. See, these are the macros being placed. These are the standard cells. Look at this, how nicely they are placed. You're seeing like jumbled, right? Now they are properly placed neatly like a bricks, right? So they are placed like this. And if I enable some metal layers, you'll see the connections between them. See, I have enabled only one metal. You'll see the connections, or what I'll do is I'll show you. See, these are metal straps I was talking about, right? Power plan. So these are the metal strap. You can see VDD, VSS. So they will be everywhere. They will be everywhere. So you can see the power straps everywhere. So you'll have vertical power straps as well as horizontal power straps. I'm enabling the horizontal power straps. So these are the horizontal power straps. You can imagine like a pair of wires in your house, right? Everywhere they are in the house. So like that they have been drawn, right? You might have also known what is via. Via is the connection between two different layers, right? Look at this. This is metal M9. You can see on the left hand corner here. This is M9 and this is M8. This is M8. So there need to be a connection between these two layers, and hence this is the via. This box, what you are seeing, is called via, right? So this way you are seeing the power plan placement you have seen, and the connections between them. We will see connections between these are the routing. What you are seeing like pink, right, and this green colored. This is the routing between the different pins. So this cell has a pins. These are pins. So between these pins, there should be connections. Who told me this connections is the netlist. Netlist has told me where the connection should be, right? Based on that netlist information, this routing has all happened. So while drawing this, there should not be any rules violated. What are the rules? See the distance between two metal layers, this and this, the same color, right? This is M3, this is M3. The distance between these two, the distance between these two, there's a rule. It is 0.248 shown here. There's a rule, there's a number for this. If you are not following that number, that will show you an error. So they are all should be fixed. the tool might have violated the rule. The tool might have violated the rule. So as an engineer, I need to fix that. I need to fix that violation, right? And we need to also see that timing violations. So timing means, see the given frequency. I want this chip to operate at 1 gigahertz. Is it able to operate at 1 gigahertz? 1 gigahertz means what? The output should come for every one clock cycle, right? So it's a big circuitry. Still, can it give me the output? Still, can it give me the output at that frequency? So we need to check that. So that is timing. So we need to check all that and then only say, yes, it can work at 1 gigahertz, right? So this is the last stage, a routing stage. After this, we write out a files called write GDS, write GDS by any name, right? Project done kind of, right? Project done dot GDS if you write. So there will be a file written out, and this will be the file which goes to the foundry. This is the file which goes to the foundry. And the foundry people will use that file and do the fabrication. Right? With that, I'll be ending the demo. Right? We will take up the questions, or I'll finish off with this remaining slides. Right? I have completed with the demo. I'll skip these two. I have covered them. Right? Some career opportunities in VLSI industry. Right? A quick look. I have 10 more minutes. So, how to pursue a career in VLSI? How to pursue us? See, for example, you're still pursuing your engineering, masters, or in BE or BTech, right? There might be campus placements in your campuses itself by some good companies like Intel, Qualcomm, or some uh, whoever are into this VLSI. They may come to you and hire you as an intern, or a full-time job opportunity can be given to you. That is one way to get into this domain, right? Are not able to get the job, or such companies don't visit your campus placements, you can go for a master's. Please, I tell you, do masters in a premium institutes, right? Premium institutes like IITs or NITs or BITS Pilani, right? And VIT, right? Manipal universities. Do at such places. And are also, if you want to do in other colleges, please check whether they have campus placements for VLSI companies or not, whether previous students have been placed for VLSI companies or not, whether VLSI companies are visiting them or not. Check that. You can also try going for a master's at some good universities in abroad, like, right? Yeah, usually campus placements will be through the service companies like HCL, Wipro, right? They'll give some training and take you. No, sir, all this is not possible. I did not get placed in campus, or I don't want to go for a master's. I want to get into a job. The next opportunity is do a course, right? Do some good course and get into this domain. That is one way to get into, right? Then, how to choose a right domain in VLSI is check whether you are good in digital electronics or analog electronics or CMOS or programming. Then you can decide, right? Here I have a list. If you're good in digital electronics and CMOS devices, you can go for a physical design course. Digital electronics and CMOS devices, you can go for a physical design course. If you are good in analog electronics and CMOS devices, you can go for analog layout. If you are good in CMOS devices and analog electronics and digital electronics, you can go for DFT. Someone asked me front end, sir. I told you, if you are good in programming, right? Programming and digital electronics, go for design verification and RTL. This is what front end is, right? So you can choose that. Some packages, rough packages I have listed. Those who are interested can take a screenshot of this, right? Self-explanatory. I don't need to explain this. These are the some packages, high packages they offer for each courses, right? Coming to our chip edge, we are training partners of Synopsys. We are mostly into VLSR training. We do only VLSR training, right? It was founded in October 2012. We are located in Bangalore, Karnataka, India, right? We offer courses in various domains of VLSI like analog and digital. We have a strong collaboration with VLSI industries, and our syllabus is formed by people from industry only. So many, like 1,600 plus students have been trained. We use only Synopsys tools. We are the training partners of Synopsys, all industry standard tools. And we have 24 bar 7 VPN lab access. You can access our labs sitting at your home anytime, 24 bar 7. It's active, like you can work on any times, right? That's about a simple definition or simple things about our chip edge, right? These are the various courses that we offer at chip edge. Few are for freshers and few are for professionals already working, right? Some low power is all for only for professionals who are already working, like high speed IO circuit design, or for professionals who are already into this, right? Some are for freshers, and many courses are first started by Chipage. Happy for to say that, like DFT, right? High speed IO circuit design and low power. These are started by Chipage. Nobody has this earlier. Synthesis, STA, and LEC also we started these courses. We do training for freshers like you people, and also we do training for working professionals already working in some domain and they want to shift to other domains. They come to us for training. We have corporate training as well. Some corporates have tie up with us to train their freshers, a new hiring, right? For them, we do training, and we have tie-ups with some educational institutes in and around Bangalore. We go to them or they come to us. We conduct workshops for them, right? We train the faculty, we train the master students. For now, for you people, if you are interested to do courses, we have 3 courses which are starting now for freshers. These are for freshers. DFT, Design for Test, which is going to start from 30th November. RTL Design and Verification, if you want to be in a front end, it starts from 12th October. Starts from 12th October. And if you are looking for a physical design, it is starting from 12th October again, this 12th October, right? The mode of training will be the blended model. What I mean by blended model is we are planning the course will be for 5 months. Out of 5 months, first 4 months we are planning it to be online, and the last 1 month we are planning it. If COVID situations comes down, you can come to our classroom and get trained in the classroom itself. If not, it will be continued as an online, right? It's a 5 months course. It's a 5 months course. So how will be the training? What will be the duration? The training will be from Monday to Friday, every day 5 hours, right? 5 months of duration. So that 5 hours includes theory and lab sessions as well. Each lab session will be with hands-on. You the way I was teaching, right? You will also turn on your laptops and you will work with the tool. As I do the command, you will also run the command and you will also see the outputs. And I'll be asking, did you get the output? What is the report, right? Kind of. And how do we support you? Is we will have Google groups and as well as WhatsApp group where trainers and lab assistants will be there in the group. And if you have any doubts, you can post it in the WhatsApp group or the uh, Gmail groups, and we will be answering you. All the sessions that we take, either theory or the lab, will be recorded, and the recordings will be given to you for your reference, further reference, right? If you are not able to follow in the class itself, or you could not attend the class, it will be recorded and it will be shared with you. Few placement news, right, which all students are happy to see this, right? And this is during this COVID situation. I repeat, this is during COVID situation this happened, right? In during April to July, our students were able to place. Recently, a girl called Loganaki, she did a full-time course in physical design, just last batch, 2019 graduated, BE 2019 graduated. She got into Intel and just last month in the July somewhere, right? So many placements are happening in this COVID situations as well. The uniqueness of our Chipets courses is our trainers are all from industry with some 10 plus experience. We use industry standard tools like Synopsys, right? The course is designed, the syllabus is designed for the experts from the industry only, right? We concentrate more on the labs. We concentrate more on the labs. More than 70% of time will be spent with the tool. We do give you placement assistance to get into companies, right? Some tools that are used during the physical design course. I'm not talking about the other two courses. I'm talking about physical design courses. These are the tools that you will be learning. The digital design with Verilog is through VCS. Synthesis is by Design Compiler. We do something called as LEC check, and it is the tool used for it is Formality. We use Primetime for STA, ICC2 for physical design, Star RC for RC extraction, and IC Validator for physical verification. You may not understand these things right now. In simple, I can say all are very costly tools, all industry tools, right? And these are the tools which are used in the industry right now. So you can just quote it, I know this tool. And if you also want to cross check, go and Google it and see whether any PD requirements, right? PD job opening, you will see you need to have an expertise in ICC2, prime time SI. There will be a requirement like this. You need to know like Star RC. So that is what you are learning. It's not like what you learned in the college with some non-industry tools. You are learning the industry tools. You are learning the industry tools, right? Coming to the placement assistance offered by Chipajis, we will provide you soft skill training by industry again. Some industry person will come and give you the soft skill training. We will conduct you at least two mock interviews, and the mock interviews are taken by industry persons. Industry persons, apart from your trainers, trainers will not take the mock interview. Others will take the mock interview to check how good you are learned the subject, right? That's a great advantage. If you face one or two mock interviews, you'll feel confident in attending the real interviews. This is a special news for MTech students who are pursuing MTech. I could see two or three are here with MTech. If you join our course, right, first 4 months will be the training, regular training, and next 2 months you will be offered with two different projects. Two different projects. One will be a huge project for the last month, in the 6th month. So you can show it as an your internship as well. We will provide you the internship certificate because you are working with us for 6 months, and the last project will be a good project for you. So you can showcase this as your internship. So who are looking in the third semester, right, can come for us and do the course as well as you get the internship certificates. Who can join this course? BE or BTech pass out 2019 or later. I mean 2019 or 20. Our masters same 2019 or 20. Our experienced engineers who are in other domains. Our faculty who are working before and graduated before 2018 and looking for a change in their career can come for come to our course. Coming to the fees, actually fees were very costly earlier, right? You can see the fee structure: 90,000 for RTL, DFT was 1 lakh, PD was 1 lakh. Because of these COVID situations, and we are doing it online, the discount has been offered, and these are the prices that we are charging now, right? And there's a discount criteria for this. If you perform well in our written test and the interview, you'll be offered some discount. And also, if you are registering quickly, you will be offered some discounts. And if you are coming in groups of three, two or three, right, you may get the group discounts as well. Right? Admission process. It's not like just come and pay the fees and get into our course. No, there will be two rounds of admission process. One is written test. You need to write the test, online test. perform well in the test, score well, right? Once you are scored well, then only you are allowed to go for an interview. Interview will be a telephonic interview. We will check your fundamentals of VLSI, your learning ability, your attitude towards getting into VLSI domains, right? Will all be checked. Based on these two only, you are considered for the admission at Chip Edge. That's all I have. For more details, you can contact uh, Faiza and Deepak. They will be the learning coordinators. They'll give you the information, share you the information, what course will be suitable for you, right? And fee structure or any like when the course begins, all such information. You can note these two numbers, Faiza and Deepak. You can note these two numbers for your future reference. I repeat, Faiza and Deepak's phone numbers. Faiza number is 96320 44767. Deepak number is 9611 766 All right. Hope you have noted it. That's all I had here for today. And now I would like you to take the questions. Okay. There are 6 questions. What responsibility of layout engineer in this part of PD? Shivendra, a layout engineer means if you're talking about I don't understand what responsibility of layout engineer is this part of PD. Layout engineer, you mean to say drawing the layouts means if it's a standard cell designer, I told you standard cells are there, right? So the standard cells are designed by him. R can be any bigger design. They will draw the layout and give it to us for a PD guide, right? If you're happy with the answer, say yes in the chats. Otherwise, I'll take the question again. Ankita, no. No, so Morsa has not reached saturation. It's still growing. You can search, Google it as Morsa reached the saturation. No, they are trying it. Morsa is still active. Like we are reaching it, right? It has not reached the saturation. And don't ever think VLSI will have no scope. Kind of. Don't ever think that, right? We always need good mobile phones, correct? We need more features in the mobile phones. So when people are asking for more and more features, definitely VLSI will be in the trend. Okay, what does current design command means? Deepta Chowdhury. See, if it's a big design, right, multi-module design, you might have written Verilog codes with multiple modules in the same code, right? So which is the top module, you'll mention that. Current design means that. For example, if you might have written a full adder, structural programming style, right? So you have off adders in that, full adder as well as off adder. Which is the top module in that? Full adder is the top module. So you'll set it as current design as the top module name. I did not understand, Shivendra. What is this question? What is you mean system on chip and network on chip? SOC and NOC, right? You can read more on that, right? Are not particular to this discussion, right? Or you can call me, I can personally talk to you on this two question things. Uh, Shweta, what is the difference between STA and PD? Yes, there's a difference. PD, as I told you, the flow. You might have understood what PD engineer is doing, right? I am placing floor plan, power plan, do the CTS, do the routing. This is PD. STA is about seeing whether there are timing violations or right not. There are things like setup time, hold time, fan out, max tran, max cap. There are things, right? You might have heard about setup and hold time at least. D flip flop, there's a setup time and hold time. So we need to check whether the timing has reached, the data is reaching at the proper time or not. So to check that, STA people will come into picture. If it is not meeting, STA people will guide me what to do. So that is STA. They do only timing analysis. PD job is to do all these things. Virendra Kumar, yes, you can have, if you are experienced, you can have only the tool access. Please talk to Faiza and Deepak about that prices, right? I am not the person for the prices. You can talk to Faiza or Deepak and access the tools. If you are experienced and if you feel you can work on your own. Akshay, yes, placement opportunities both for weekend and weekdays are same. Are same. See, the problem is it should be like companies should have the openings. When the companies have openings, definitely our placement team will talk to you and refer your resumes, forward your resumes for the placement considerations. Right. For more details, you can talk to Faiza and Deepak regarding the placement opportunities. Uh, yes, Virendra Kumar, I'll share you. Hope you are able to see them. Can you note from here? Krishna Manoj, when offline classes starts, we don't know. We don't know. Really, we don't know, right? You know the situations, and you know the situations in Bangalore. Every day, some 4,000 plus cases are coming out. So we really don't know when it can happen. Yes, any other questions? Shweta, no. STA, we don't do floor planning. I think some wrong information. But STA people, we don't do floor planning. Right? I'll keep 1 more minute for questions. Okay, thank you, Shweta. Uh, if you're looking for a full time, we have not come up with the date. Maybe somewhere in the month of February, after the school the first batch ends. We also have weekend batches. Weekend batches are 12 weeks course. 12 weeks course, which is about to start on October 3rd. October 3rd, there will be weekend batch course. Please, you can all visit shippers.com website for more information on fee structure or starting dates of the courses. Dasam, yes, you'll receive this recording. You'll receive this recording. You can also look into YouTube for Chipet's channel. YouTube for Chipet's channel. We have all the previous webinars, like 7 or 8 such webinars have already happened, right? One on RTL and DV has also happened, one on DFT has happened, right? Those recordings are available in YouTube. Search for a Chipper channel and look for the recordings. Previous webinar recordings are available on YouTube. One on physical design, I took a more elaborative physical design. That is also there in YouTube. Two on RTL and DV are all available. One or two on DFT course are also available. Kanti Srinivas, out of scope, PVT corners is a big discussion. I can simply say PVT corners means, see, P means process, V means voltage, T means temperature, right? See, I designed some circuitry. Process variations means when a fabricating guy is doing the fabrication, right? The N mass or the P mass, the shape, the structure can become different. The gate oxide can be thicker or thinner. So because of that, that NMOS can operate faster or slower, right? So there may be variations due to that process. So that my design should not fail if there is a fail in the fabrication, right? And voltage also. I feel my entire chip will operate at 1 volts. May not be practically correct, right? One area there may be change in the voltage. So if the voltage changes, also my chip should work, right? Temperature means, see, I have purchased a mobile. I have a mobile right now. I'm in Bangalore. It's working fine. Tomorrow I go to some place like Himalayas. I go. The temperature is very less. I should not purchase one more mobile to work in Himalaya. My same mobile should work in Himalayas also. Right? If there is a temperature variations, then also my same chip should work. It's not like give me a mobile to work in Bangalore, give me a mobile to work in Himalayas. No, right? So my mobile is tested for the different temperatures also. That is PVT, right? You can read more on that. Yes, Shweta, we have a course only for STA. Again, you can check for Chip's website. We have a course only on STA starting from somewhere in this month, right? It's actually synthesis plus STA. We will teach you synthesis plus STA. If you don't want synthesis, you can take up only STA course as well. Price wise, please talk to Faizan Deepak. I have shared the numbers, they are available in the website. You can also take up only the STA course. Shivendra, I did not understand the question. For working professionals in other domain and switching in VLSI, will company consider as a fresher? Depends on your previous experience, Shivendra. Depends on how you can explain your experience when you're switching it, right? I have seen like PCB design engineers come to PD and show their PCB design experience as a PD experience and switch. It is up to you how you showcase it. I have seen people many switching from other industries to VLSI industry. It depends on what was your earlier experience, right? Any other questions? We are delayed by for 10 minutes. Okay. Thanks for all for joining. Right. It was nice talking to you. Hope you got some knowledge. You agree with me? One or two responses. You got some knowledge about physical design flow and the tool, how the tool behaves, how the tool looks, right? Thank you, Shrika. Thank you, Shweta. Okay, with that, I thank you all for joining the session. If interested, please check into chipedge.com and join our courses. Get into your VLSI domain. If it's your dream to get into VLSI domain, right? Join us, right? I assure you, you will get good, plenty of knowledge required for your career to build your career in VLSI. I assure that, right? You'll definitely get that confidence to work in VLSI domains after completing any course at us, right? Okay, with that, I thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining.